This is Look at This at That Form, character drawing from start to finish with Ashley A. Woods. Ashley A. Woods is a comic book artist, writer, and creator from Chicago, known for her work in the Niobe, Ladycastle, and Tomb Raider series. She got her start through self-publishing her action fantasy comic series, Millennia War, which led to her career in comics and TV. After earning her degree in film animation from IADT, she traveled to Kyoto, Japan, where she presented her work in a gallery showcase called Out of Sequence, recognized for her female illustrations and designs. Her most prominent work is Niobe, She Is Life, with Stranger Comics. Ashley's latest work can be found in HBO's Lovecraft Country and Heathen from Bold Comics.
Hey everyone, thank you for the introduction, Cielo. So my name is Ashley Woods, and I am a designer, a artist, and a writer. And so for today's workshop, I want to show you techniques that will make character design and figure drawing a lot easier. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and I'm going to demonstrate these techniques for you to follow along to. So give me 1 second as I get situated and we'll get rolling. So I'm sharing my screen now. So I'm just setting my iPad down on my desk so I can draw with leverage. So to start off, we want to start off with a gesture drawing. So when you're trying to figure out the pose for a character, you want to have loose dynamic lines, and also you want to focus on the speed of your drawing so that you can capture the pose as it comes to mind. And your initial lines don't have to be very detailed. So I like to start off with just like a loose sketch for the head. May have like a line of symmetry here, very loose. And so I'm going to start blocking in the figure with shapes and loose lines. And we're going to tighten this down the line. Or as we proceed, we'll tighten it. And also I'm using lines to indicate where the shoulders, bust, and hips are. I'm going to scale this down a little bit so that we can have more of the figure. Like I said, it's really loose and sketchy. We're just trying to figure out a flow here. But the theme that I have in mind is ninjas, something ninja related. I haven't drawn ninjas in a long time. So I just figured that would be fun for this workshop. For the legs, I like to use like another line of symmetry. So a line for the thigh, the knee. Let's scale this down just a bit more. We get the whole figure. And if the leg is crooked now or doesn't look very stable, we can rotate it later. But right now, we just want a lot of the weight to be shifted or leaning towards the right, the leg that I'm drawing now. So this leg right here is supporting much of her weight. And this is a very basic pose right here. We'll have an example of a more dynamic pose coming up. But this is how you figure out the proportions for your character. And it's also okay to use references if you are having difficulty figuring out the angle or how a limb should be. So for instance, on standby in this folder, I have a couple of references of models that I've saved from different clothing sites. And so here I'm just referencing their feet and their legs primarily, and also how the weight is shifted in their figures. So let's go back to Procreate. Actually, I think I'm going to draw I'm gonna draw their feet a little bit more accurately. I'm gonna give her some heels. Maybe she could have like some booties or some tall boots. And also it's good to flip your figure just to make sure that the proportions are even. I feel like her arms are a bit short, but this is just kind of a rough thing for now. Just to show you how to quickly draw a figure on the spot. Also, her head is a bit small, so I'm gonna start drawing in details of her face soon. So for the face, let me erase some of this real quick. So I like to use the nose as a point of reference to anchor the face, the features of the face. That seems to makes the most sense to me. I know some people like to have a face and then they'll draw lines here and there to line up the eyes and the mouth and all that. But I like to just start in the middle of the face, because whenever I start off with the eyes, everything winds up lopsided. So this is how I'm able to, like I said, anchor and judge the rest of the features based on where the nose is. And it's also important to play with your expressions. Right here, she's already looking a little bit surprised. Her eyes are a bit wide. You may change that a little bit later. Okay, she doesn't look as surprised now, the eyebrows. And so, and I'm not a sculptor, but in a lot of ways, I relate drawing and sketching to sculpting because of the cleanup, like how I'm cleaning up the line work now and tightening up the artwork. It's almost like chiseling away at, you know, maybe some resin or plaster. It's like sculpting. And there's lots of ways to clean up your work. Like there's many tutorials and speed videos that show artists. They may like lower the opacity. Let's see how you lower the opacity on this. Because I just got this thing, so I'm still becoming acquainted with it.
Can I tell you how?
Yeah.
So you're gonna press the N.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Got it. Thank you. So some artists like to lower the opacity like this of their sketch layer, and then they'll have another layer on top called the ink layer. And that might be more appropriate for this tutorial since we only have about an hour. So let's rename this real quick to sketch. And rename this layer to ink. Yes, that was a good save. Thank you for that tip. All right, so yeah, actually let's start inking on top of this figure, and then we can try out a dynamic figure next. So actually for the ink, I'm going to keep the same tool, which is the Procreate pencil. I just really like the texture of that tool. So let's like go in. Actually, I'm gonna pull out so I can see the whole figure. I saw this picture of Rihanna with a lot of hair on her head. It was from this movie called Ocean's 11 or 12. I don't know. I didn't see it. But I really like this look, like the hair and the hair scarves. So we're going to use that as inspiration. Start drawing in her ears. I'm going to try to define her face a bit more. Give her some cheekbones. I'm gonna start building her outfit on top of this sketch. So I feel like she will have some armor, but since she's a ninja and she has to focus on agility, we're going to keep the armor really light. So maybe like a light breastplate, a light belt, I'm not sure if I'm going to give her coverings for both her shins, but we'll see as we go. I'm going to start off with her belt, and I'll judge the rest of her outfit based on how her belt goes. So we have like a slight fantasy edge going here. And so when you're creating your outfit or your character, it's always good to have a goal in mind. You know, sometimes you can really come up with some cool ideas when you just wing it. A lot of your best ideas come from just winging it. But also it's good to just have a goal in mind for what you're trying to communicate in your design. Like I probably wouldn't give her a huge broadsword because she needs to be agile, but at the same time, like if we're like in a Capcom world, anything pretty much goes. Like you can be as over the top as you want. And also, I know a lot of times people early on in drawing, they are afraid to use the eraser tool, but the eraser tool is your best friend. It is not your enemy. And it's okay to constantly revise and erase. The eraser is a tool. That's what it's there for. So definitely become acquainted with it. Let's see. I'm just pretty much loosely following the contour of her body, her the lines in her body. The armor's probably not the most practical since her belly is exposed, but I don't know, maybe we'll have like a secondary layer of armor underneath. And so I'm just making up some shapes for her gauntlets. And when I draw hands, I tend to draw my knuckles like loose spheres. I start off with the knuckles and then I expand from there. And hands and feet, especially feet, they're like the bane of my existence. I hate drawing feet, especially. But that used to be my relationship with hands as well. But I worked through it by just focusing on whatever I'm weak at. So I'll just go to my sketchbook and I'll create studies of just, eyes, hands, anatomy, whatever I feel uncomfortable with. Sometimes you have to draw things on the fly and you don't really have much time to reference what you're drawing to be as on point with the reference, I guess I'm trying to say, because sometimes deadlines are just too tight. So it's another good reason why it's good to build up your gesture drawing skills, because you're able to just figure things out on the spot through shapes and loose lines, and then you can pretty much fake your way through something to make it seem practical or make the piece look like it works, even if it's not practical in real life. I just want to see what it looks like without the sketch real quick. So actually for her skirt, I'm gonna add another layer in case I change my mind. I feel like maybe a skirt of some kind could be cool. Actually, yeah, let's add another layer of armor underneath her breastplate. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to pick up the pace real quick. I'm gonna just make some random shapes on her legs for her armor, because I want to show you the same technique for a dynamic pose. So let's finish this character up. And then one good piece of advice that an artist friend gave me in the comic industry was that when you're designing a character, sometimes it's good to not put the same accessories on both sets of limbs. So like maybe one leg will have an accessory that the other leg won't, or the arm. And just that little small detail can make a character less boring, because if it's even all the way around, that could be a little bit too on the nose for a design. So that's something that I learned a little while ago, and I tend to use. Every time I draw boots like this, I think about Kill la Kill. Yeah. Okay, so this still looks a little bit sketchy, just due to lack of time, but it's a little bit tighter than the initial sketch. We add the sword. But yeah, this is a rough example of how to build a character from scratch, from sketch to somewhat finish. Still looks a little bit rough. But okay, so let's try out a dynamic pose. So as you can see here in this figure, where I drew the on the sketch layer, I initially drew lines to, let me switch the color so I can show it easier. So these lines are pretty much straight across these guidelines for her shoulders, bust, hip area. The line of symmetry is somewhat straightforward as well. But when you do more action-related poses, the more you teeter these guidelines up or down, the more dynamic it makes the angles. So let's try that with the next pose. So I'm going to set my guidelines more angled. First off with the head. I'm undecided what her head is going to do, so I'm going to just leave it blank for now. Make the shoulders this way, her hips this way. So here, maybe she could be running or hopping, like mid-air motion. Drawing her collarbone. The collarbone really helps me define the shoulders better as well. However, the collarbone is leaning. Let's do like a 3/4. Scale this down a little bit. Also, when I'm drawing feet, one thing that helps me is to draw the inside curve, and then I'll move on from there. And that helps me really figure out the angle of a foot. Maybe her sword or kunai could be behind her somewhat. Give her a little charm on it. And then maybe in this hand, she can have some projectiles in between each of her fingers, like she's getting ready to throw some shurikens or knives. This is really rough and crude, but this is the building stage. So as you can see, yeah, just tilt these guidelines when you're drawing your figure. Tilt the lines to make your figures more dynamic. Let's try to draw in the features of her face before the workshop is over. I got my eraser and pencil mixed up. I kind of want to tilt her head a bit. Yeah, that head tilt is a little bit more interesting. So we'll like realign her neck. And then once again, start off with the nose. And even with drawing the lips, I tend to feel like less is more. So sometimes the absence of actual detail can help balance out what's there already. I hope that makes sense. Like sometimes you don't have to draw every single detail of a face or figure. Like the brain will fill in the missing details. Yeah, she looks a bit more determined here. I didn't like the way the hair turned out in the first sketch. Kind of came out. I just didn't like it. So I'm gonna try it again. This sketch. I don't know. Maybe we'll lose the hair rag because the hair rag was a bit. I don't know. I like the hair rag. I can't decide. We'll figure it out. Actually, I'm trying to decide how I want her hair to flow. Her hair should probably flow this way. That's ugly. I don't like that. Give her a little bit sideburns. So, yeah, that's the gist of, making a character from start to finish. A few techniques that I use to help make the process easier. Remember to just go in loose because you can always tighten it up later. You don't want to go in trying to just nail it right away because most likely you won't. Or you might change your mind. Drawing is all about problem solving and decision making. So I might give her something more leotard focused. No, that's not what I want. Draw these details on a new layer. maybe give her outfit more pointy shoulders. But does anyone have any questions or comments, or, and if not, it's cool as long as.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
I was wondering, how do you get inspiration for what you want your character to wear, and then how do you turn that into something original?
I like to go to different clothing sites, and so like H&M or what have you, and like this picture, for example, I saved this picture because I like the cut of her shirt, like the upside down triangle. So I'll go around and collect pictures like this. This is a good idea for a bodysuit. Like when I look at this, I think about maybe a tech suit, something you can mix with sci-fi and fantasy. So that's one way I gain inspiration. I also gain inspiration just from playing video games or watching movies. I gain it from my hobbies, people watching, just life in general. But yeah, my number one inspiration, my hobbies, and then I love fashion, so going to clothing sites. You know, Fashion Nova is one of my favorite places to go because they have a lot of unique cuts and designs, even for like basic looking pieces. They're still interesting because of how they're cut and pieced together.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Maybe we can add like some wedge, like not wedge, but some futuristic looking soles to her shoes. And maybe these will help her adhere to the wall easier if she was like climbing a vertical surface. And what inspired this was just it's kind of weird, it's just thinking, what if I don't know if you guys seen this movie called Volcano, but there was this guy who was on this train that was melting in some lava. And so that's kind of like where the shoes were inspired from, just thinking like, melting souls. And like, what if they cooled off and were shaped in this, pretty cool, funky, organic design.
Just to let you know, we have about 12 minutes left.
Okay. Okay, well, for here, I guess I can show you guys some expressions real quick, and then try to like maybe cover this end if we have time. But just like how I built these figures, oops, hold up 1 second. My mistake. Okay, get here. So the same techniques that I use for building the poses, you can also apply to expressions. Actually, I want to do this instead. Faces are one of my favorite things to draw or use to warm up with before I start my my work for the day for my clients. And so it's important to be cognizant of what the eyes are communicating. So if you want a calm look or even sinister, depending on what you do with the rest of the face, low hanging eyelids really work. So right now, she looks maybe possibly sleepy. But maybe if we do something with her eyebrows to make her skeptical. So we give her the people's eyebrow here. And you know, so she's like, "What you talking about, Willis?" I don't know if you guys would catch that, but that reference, super old TV show. What you talking about? And so yeah, we're just loosely sketching in the details. Or like maybe here she can be smiling like in a manic state. So make the eyes super wide. And we won't let the pupils touch either lid. Make the underlids a little bit darker just to make her look crazier. Also, it's cool to play with different the shapes of your features. So maybe we can give her short, chunky eyebrows here. Like little small tufts of hair. And I don't know, maybe she like won the lottery or got like a lifetime supply of chocolate or something. And she's just like, "God, yes, I'm so happy. I don't need anything else in my life. This is all I need." Also, when drawing teeth, I like to darken in the corners first. And already it can, you know, show like a full 2 rows of teeth. And then you just go in and you sparingly add the minor details. Because if you like draw every single tooth, you know, she just gonna look wild. So I mean, I guess that looks cool. That's what you're going for, like candy. I'm gonna leave it. Yeah, give her some dark lipstick. And then also when I'm drawing in the frame of the face, I love drawing cheekbones. So cheekbones is another good way to start off. And sometimes you can draw a little circle down here or a sphere to figure out, where your chin will be. Just like candy. Yeah. I'm gonna give her elf ears just because.
Have you seen that one episode of SpongeBob where the fish is like chocolate?
Oh my God, no, I
Yeah.
have to YouTube it. Is it easy to find on YouTube?
It should be really easy to find. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll look it up. Yeah. Yeah, he happy. She is happy. Got some candy. Also, I really like blunt cut bangs. So let me sketch in some blunt cut bangs. I usually just call them bangs, but just to be specific.
I really, really like people that have elf ears.
Oh yeah, I love elf ears. They're the greatest. And also when you're drawing hair, like when you're drawing free flowing hair, it helps to just add extra strands like this, and just let your wrist do whatever it wants. I'm about to make a cheesy joke. Look at the flick of the wrist. Well, that's where the power comes from. It's all in your wrist. It's not so much in your hands or your fingers. It's like your elbow, shoulder, and wrist. So that's where like the motion for each stroke comes in. Let's go for one more expression. Oh, are we out of time?
Yeah, we're almost at 6:12 right now.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just sketch and just give the outro, but I really appreciate you guys checking out my workshop. And if you would like to see more of our work, you can go to my website. I'll write it down. Ooh, that's ugly. 1 second.
I can paste it in the chat too.
Nice. All right, yeah, help me out. And I'll also write it here. AshleyAWoods.com. Yeet. Yeah. But yeah, you can check out more of my work on there. And I have some personal pieces. I don't know what I'm doing with her mouth, but let's give her like a scorpion mask. But I have some personal pieces as well as client work. And yeah, I have some work coming out next year. I can't really speak on it too much, but eventually I will be returning to my own personal project, which is called Millennia War. And it was inspired by my love for Final Fantasy and Metal Gear Solid. So right now there are 7 books and a graphic novel out. And I created, wrote it, everything. So that is my passion project. So I should be able to release the 8th book in the series sometime next year. The aim was to do it this year, but I had some projects come my way that I wasn't expecting. But in any other case, I want you guys to just be inspired, I know it's gonna be like, oh, words of encouragement, but yeah, just be inspired, or try to stay inspired. I know we're in a really rough period. Stick to what your hobbies are, even if they feel like it's a waste of time. If you feel like you're playing too many video games, sometimes that's what you need to do just to mentally check out of whatever's going on chaotic in your personal life or in the world. Anything that's going on outside of you that could be, just giving you bad vibes, in so many words. Just make sure you use this time to do escapism. Now is not the time to get worked up and stressed out over what's happening outside of you. I just really want to communicate that to you guys, because I wish someone told me that when I was in high school and college. I had to learn the hard way. But yeah, there's no such thing as a wasted action. There's an opportunity in everything, even when things aren't going your way and you feel like it's all BS, there's still a silver lining. And I'm not just, talking sweet words to you. I'm telling you the truth, because I have lived and learned. Okay, you kicking me out? Okay,
I'm sorry, I gotta. But I really enjoyed this. Is so amazing. So if you're ready, let's give her a question. Thank you, Ashley.